Let's get the read right now for Dr. Richard Besser, of course, the former acting director of the CDC, who joins us right now. Doctor, always good to have you, and so much to talk about today. First, on this Moderna news, I know last time we were talking, it was another company also with promising technology, and you urged caution, optimistic, but urged caution. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, Neil, again, it's great to have a positive result, but it is important to be cautious here. This is what's called a phase 1 trial. So it's the earliest stage of a company's trial, and it looks to see whether there's any signs that this could be dangerous, that it could have a toxicity that would mean you wouldn't want to go forward to a bigger trial. And it's where you figure out what dose of vaccine do you want to give to people. So it's terrific that this gave people an antibody response. What we'll need to see going forward is does it do that in a larger population? Is it safe? And do those antibodies confer protection? So we don't know that yet. It hasn't been determined what profile of antibodies will correlate or will be linked to protection. But it is a positive sign, and it gives us hope. But in no way does this take us away from the public health approach that we need to use this fall, this winter going forward. We're a long way from a safe and effective vaccine.
You know, Director, you and 3 other former CDC directors made news yesterday, this Washington Post column, in which you argued that no president has ever politicized CDC science the way that Donald Trump has. And you outlined, as an example, the push to reopen schools, regardless of some of these other issues that have come up. Explain what your concern is.
Yeah. I'm a pediatrician and I'm a parent, and I know that the best place for children is in school learning. It's critically important. A lot of children are going to lose ground because they're not in school, but it has to be done safely. And CDC is our nation's public health agency, and they work with others to look at the science to figure out what needs to be in place so that children can go back to school safely, so that teachers can be protected, so that staff can be protected. Thankfully, most children who get this infection will do well. Not all. Some won't do well, but staff and teachers are at increased risk compared to children. So CDC lays out guidance, and then states take that and work with it and adopt it to their local situation. When CDC develops a guidance, it goes through a clearance process. So you take into account policy considerations as guidance is moving forward. But I've never, in my career at CDC, and I was there 13 years, I've never seen politicians who are part of that process undercut the guidance then that comes forward. It has to be united, because if you don't have public health and the political arm speaking as one, you get the kind of divisions we're seeing in this country, where some people say there's nothing to worry about, and others, every public health leader, saying we have to take this seriously. What we do really matters.
Well, we do know that the president has already, or the White House sent out word to hospitals to bypass the CDC and run things directly, presumably by the White House. Also, the president last night was posting this claim that essentially said the CDC and doctors around it are, quote unquote, lying about COVID. This on the heels of Peter Navarro in a USA Today column today, blasting Dr. Fauci as being more often wrong than right. And that he's missed the boat a number of times on this. What do you make of all that?
Yeah. Well, I know Dr. Fauci, and he's a brilliant scientist, a committed public servant, a patriot. And I would say that holds true for my colleagues during all of my years at CDC. And I am greatly concerned about data bypassing CDC. One of the plus sides of CDC being in Atlanta is that it takes CDC away from some of the political machinations that happen in Washington. And the idea that data that are critical to CDC in doing its mission in terms of understanding transmission across the country, in terms of helping states and locals really get this under control, the idea that that's going to go directly to Washington and not to CDC, it raises red flags to me. And it says, why are we undercutting our nation's public health agency at a time when they need the resources and support to help us get this under control?
Do you think that the president is hurting this effort? In other words, by pushing for states to reopen, pushing for schools to open regardless. His argument is it's better net that they do that, to your earlier point, that it's better for kids if they all had that, but that he's going too far.
Yeah, if you look across the ocean, if you look at Europe and what's going on there, and what you see are many different countries, different cultures, different ways of approaching the world. What you're seeing is that they're getting this under control, and they're doing it by following the guidance of public health. And when you get the numbers down, that creates the opportunity to get the economy going, to get children back to school in a way that's safe. What we're seeing here across the country are numbers going up in so many states. We're seeing schools getting ready to open that aren't prepared, that haven't ensured that the airflow is good, that the classrooms have fewer students so you can do social distancing, that the staff have been hired that will allow for classrooms to be decontaminated, that screening's in place, that the procedures are there because there will be cases in schools. You have to have procedures in place so you know exactly what you're going to do when you get a case in the school. How are you going to contain that? All of those things take planning. And if the politicians and public health are on the same page, you can move towards that in a way that's safe for students, teachers, and staff. If you're not leading with public health and providing the dollars and resources so that not just wealthy schools, but every school in America is able to open, you're going to have a very dangerous situation as schools start to open, because you're going to see outbreaks, you're not going to see them well responded to, and you're going to see people who get infected, and unfortunately some who lose their lives when that could have been prevented.
You know, with the present CDC director who's been very cautious about trying to separate some of the president's recommendations versus what he thinks is wise, and obviously the sidelining of Dr. Fauci, if you were the head of the CDC right now working for this president, would you quit?
What I would be doing is pushing science. I would continue to do the mission. CDC is still focused on public health science, on learning from what's going on, for putting out good information, for good guidance.
Both of those gentlemen are pushing the science, Doctor. I think that I don't want to besmirch them, but I think they are. But if it's being ignored, or the criticism is that it's being ignored, should they leave? Would you leave in that situation?
I can't put myself into someone else's mindset, but I think anyone who serves as a CDC director has to have a line in the sand, across which they would not go. And for each person, that's going to be a different point. But no one in that position should ever undercut the science when they think that science will actually save lives.
All right. Dr. Richard Besser, the former acting director of the CDC. I don't know if he has a tweet coming his way today, but I do appreciate your comments. Doctor, thank you very much.